Hey guys, Ridiculous Badger coming at you from Planet 545, and I want to do something a little bit different today. I want to kind of look back on one of the videos that I made a few months back because I was having a little bit of an issue. In my guild, we're still having some people who are learning how to use tier suppression, and this has been an ongoing struggle that we've had to disseminate the information that the top players in our guild have to make sure that everybody really internalizes this. So, in all of my humongous ego, I was thinking to myself, why doesn't everybody in my guild know what tier suppression is? I did this video on it. And then every time I thought that to myself, I kind of had this hair of doubt that was growing longer and longer and longer. And then I realized, you know what? The video that I made that I want to go through with you guys, it doesn't really explain what tier suppression is. It kind of refines. If you already know how it works, then the video might provide for you an aha moment as to what you need to put on your comm to make it employ this tier suppression mechanic. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's really cryptic actually. So I want to take a look and just talk our way through the video, and it'll be fun. It'll be like we're watching it together. So let's watch. Okay, so tier suppression is something that can provide damage mitigation for you, and you deploy a higher tier than the enemy. You take your tier of troop minus the enemy's tier of troop, and you multiply it times your tier suppression stat. And that could get up to 100%. No damage. You'll see what I mean. Now, there are various sources that you could get that tier suppression stat from, and they're listed here. Now, when you get your Black Knight, it's going to be at plus 13, so it's going to have 6.9% tier suppression. Now, I say there's also another option when you get to plus 20, but really you have many more options. It's just that when you get that plus 20, your Black Knight gives you 9% tier suppression, your Libra 2 set will give you 10, and your Diablo will give you 6 for 25%. So you'll be able to deploy 4 tiers higher and be completely invulnerable. Because the other stats, or the other sources of the stats, the Libra 2 set and Diablo, are static, whereas with the Black Knight, you can increase that. My song choice here is Lone Digger by Caravan, and I don't know if you've seen the music video for this, but it's really, really weird. It's like a bunch of furries in a strip club. Oh man, I forgot. This was from when my Ark name was the internet. That was one of my favorites. So, I guess here is, I'm showing you what happens when you don't deploy tier suppression, in that your troops are vulnerable, even your high tier. So, what you could do is you start out with a plus 13 Black Knight, which has 6.9% tier suppression, but it's not enough. So I'm deploying tier 7, and the enemy's deploying tier 1. 7 minus 1 is 6, times 6.9 is going to be 41.4%. And if you head on back to the first fight, the control fight, you'll see that in the first slot, the enemy did 17,000 damage to me, and in this fight, where I had just the 6.9% from the Black Knight, I'm taking about 9,000 damage. Okay, so we're going to have the same fight, but this time 2 set bonus from the Libra for 10% additional tier suppression. That's going to be 16.9. And as I'm deploying tier 7 and the enemy is deploying tier 1, that's going to be 7 minus 1 is 6 times 16.9. I'm over 100%, and now the enemy cannot do any damage to me. Oh wow, that was a neat effect, right? Yeah, that was cool. I guess this is the part of the vid where we rock out with our Kong sound. Okay, so what if we go down a tier, which is what I'm not telling you over here as I just go ahead and start showing you pictures. So we're going down a tier. I'm going to deploy now the same thing, the Black Knight plus 13, which has the 6.9% tier suppression. I'm going to have the Libra 2 set for an additional 10%, but instead of deploying tier 7, I'm going to deploy tier 6. So always super important here, watch the first slot, because that's going to be the slot that I don't damage. Now, same thing, right? We got the 16.9%, but then multiplied times 5, right? 6 minus 1 is 5. We dip down below 100. Now, the tier suppression here is still really strong, and this fight really serves to show you that even if you don't have full tier suppression, it's not like strength and weaken effect. It's still something that's worthwhile to deploy. So to overcome 6 tiers discrepancy, you have your Black Knight and you've got your Libra 2 set, but that didn't work with 5 tiers. So what do you do to overcome that? How do you become invulnerable to 5 tiers? And what you could do is you could use the Diablo Hull. The Diablo Hull gives you an additional 6% to your tier suppression, so when you add that to the 2 set bonus in the Black Knight, that's 22.9%, and 22.9 times 5 is over 100, so you become invulnerable. And those 3 items are something that's really actually pretty easy to get for anybody. It doesn't take a lot of spending. Okay, so we did 6 tiers, we did 5 tiers, now we're going to look at 4 tiers higher, and you can see I'm using the same exact setup. I've got the hull, I've got the 2 set bonus, and I've got the Black Knight, and that didn't work with just the T5 against the T1. But if you upgrade your Black Knight to level 20, then you get plus 9% tier suppression versus the plus 6.9 that you start out with, and 9% plus 10% from the 2 set bonus and 6% from the hull. That equals 25%, and those 3 items together will allow you to deploy tier 5 against tier 1 and be invulnerable. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope that this helps everybody to learn what tier suppression is and wreck your enemies.